¿Qué pasa, mi gente? Welcome to another video. Today we're going to be talking about how you gotta treat your long-form content like your wife or your husband. And I know this is kind of a weird way of appreciating this video or going about this video overall, but just stick with me. It makes sense. Anyway, my name is Pedro Millan. I literally have two businesses to my name, literally two SMMAs with over 50 million views, 100 booked appointments, and on top of that, a Grammy to my name. And I'm not selling you anything. I just want you to be better, become financially free with content, personal branding, and social media. And today, we're gonna be talking about a lot of things that you can literally change your perspective on the importance of making long-form content. So the first thing, you gotta treat your long-form content like your wife or husband. And the first tip is you gotta understand the commitment your content needs over everything else. And the reason why I say this is because what is required in a relationship, especially a very long-term relationship, like we're talking like 5 to 10 years at this point, not that necessarily they have to be married at the time, but because people have their own timelines and whatever, but the point still stands. Once you're getting married, once you have a long-term relationship with somebody, if you stick with it, it will pay you forward. Like, you gain a partner, you gain a person that you can confide in, that is your best friend, somebody that literally can have your back when you're at your worst, etc., 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 especially as a man, right? At least that's the way that I view long-term relationships, right? And that's with anything. That's literally with money, notoriety, developing a community, etc., etc., etc. The same thing applies to making long-form videos. If you stick to it, it will pay you forward with the money, with the notoriety, with the community. With money, I mean, just think about it. It's just like, it's literally, at least for men, right? It might be also the same for women, but I'm not a woman, so I wouldn't be able to tell you. But at least for men, the most important decision, as told to me by like literally all of my mentors that make way more money than I do, every single one of them say that your relationship, your long-term relationship, your marriage, blah, 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 will be the most financially important decision you make ever in your life, because that justifies where your money goes, that justifies where your investments go, that also justifies how many children you have, which are also expensive, and a bunch of other categories that I don't need to get into this video. Same thing with notoriety. If somebody that you stick with genuinely loves you for who you are and knows what you're about and what your ideas are, what your ideologies are, what your moral compass is, they're going to help you through fame or famine. It doesn't matter what it is, you know what I'm saying? Like, if somebody who's literally a diehard is going to be with you from a man's perspective, right? Like, for all the ladies out there, from a man's perspective, if they're a diehard with you, like a ride or die, like most of the dudes really want, right, in my personal opinion, then they're gonna be with you whether if you're poor or if you have all the money in the world. And in comparison to everything else, it doesn't matter how much notoriety you have, your woman, your dude, is gonna hold you down. Like, they're gonna hold you down, especially if they're of that caliber, you know what I'm saying? They're gonna hold you down just like content will, right? It's like, you get 100,000 subscribers, you get 1 million subscribers, this, that, and the third, and you, more often than not, on YouTube at least, more often than not, those are the subscribers, those are the followers, those are the people within your email list that are gonna hold you down, just like in a marriage. Isn't that cool? So my thing is, a lot of people get their brains like rattled around short form content and thinking that that's gonna be super awesome and that's gonna bring them like everything that they wanted in their life. And to me, short form content is just like a one night stand. It's here, it's not. It's indecisive, it's over there. It's changing like literally how they feel about everything within the next 6 months, depending on what the new next thing is. You know what I'm saying? And the same thing comes with community, right? The community that you develop with long form content is almost just like developing a marriage, at least in my eyes, right? Because with long form content, you have real people with dollar signs, real people who are willing to give their credit card. They're willing to give their debit card. They're willing to give you cash on hand based upon them trusting you based off of the relationship they develop with you on camera. And the same thing with a marriage. You're literally out here just doing your best, you know what I'm saying? And that person is going to be a reflection of you. So if somebody goes out and sees your husband, sees your wife, and they're like, oh, dang, that person is amazing. Dude, you really picked a good one. This, that, and whatever. Or like a club that you're going to get into, and then all of a sudden they meet your husband and your wife, and it's like, yo, I love Sally. I love Frank. I love Pedro. I love Maria. Like this, that, and the third. That is a reflection of you. That is a reflection of you, which is awesome, in my personal opinion, if you pick the right person, right? So, in all those qualities, in addition to everything else, if you stick with it, it will pay you forward. And it always will. So, I think that's absolutely amazing. And the second thing is you really got to respect the craft, okay? With long form content, it's hard. Like, it's hard AF. I'm not trying to curse on my channel, but it's hard AF if you understand that, right? Because it requires time, it requires due diligence, it requires you getting on camera, it requires you doing stuff that you're not necessarily comfortable with, it requires you to be out here, you know, with the most amount of energy, trying to give in to stuff where the more you invest, the more you get back, this, that, and whatever. You have to be thinking about it every single day and take it into consideration because it is part of you and your business. Same thing with a marriage, bro. You have to be thinking about your spouse. You have to be thinking about what he or she is doing, how they relate to your life, what their parents think about you, what your parents think about them. Like, it requires time to develop that relationship. It's also hard as hell because people don't necessarily come with manuals for these people. You have to figure it out as you go, and it's just so many parallels. That's really interesting, and I think. People think that long form content is a lot harder than short form content. 1000% it is, which is why they go over the short form content. They go for the short fling. They go for the thing that literally changes every single 6 months because of the fact it's easy. But so is cheating. So is being in a relationship for 3 months. All that is easy. But what's hard is being there every single day. Making sure that you're taking care of that image of your spouse or your life-term partner, right? Being there for them, right? Same thing with the content, right? With long form, you have to be there on a consistent basis. You have to be posting consistently, you know? Because the algorithm ain't gonna give you ish, and so won't your marriage. So you might as well treat it with the respect that it deserves. Does that make sense? If you're getting value out of this video, please like and subscribe to the channel overall and the video too, because it really helps out the channel, and I literally put these videos out every single day, and I hope you guys are enjoying them because I think they're enjoyable. I would watch myself. But anyway, getting back into the video, so the third thing is the way that long form content is like your wife and marriage, in the sense that you have to have honesty with yourself and the craft, right? In the sense, like, is this something you're willing to hit record when the last video flopped? Is this something that you're willing to keep learning about? Is this something that you're willing to keep improving yourself and the way you present yourself on camera about? Is this something where you're continuously trying not to sound cringe, but you keep sounding cringe until you finally don't? It's the same thing. Is this person worth my time? Is this person that's gonna keep my best interest in mind? Is this somebody that I can share a life with? Is this somebody that I can have kids with? That's your thing. Is this somebody that I can show to my family, my friends? It's literally the same thing. And I think that people don't realize that, especially because how much commitment, like I mentioned before, it requires. Like, before even making content overall, you just have to be thinking about, like, am I capable of doing this, right? And more often than not, people aren't. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, people who can't get on camera, people can't literally show up for their audience on a given day basis, right? And that's cool, but maybe it's not for them right now, right? Because there will come a time, right? There will come a time where you're tired of literally having analytics up the wazoo. You're tired of literally having to try to go viral every single second of your life in order to be relevant. And long form is just gonna hold you down, just like your marriage. Or at least the marriage that you aspire to be if you're not married when you're watching this. But the point is that in order to be honest with your craft, in order to be honest with your spouse, you first have to be honest with yourself more so than anything else in order to go into something that matters that much, especially for the rest of your life. And the last thing is you gotta love this ish, man. You gotta love this ish. This business, this person, because the thing is that with content, just using long form content in general, is that the results don't come immediately. They don't come easily. It's a lot of work. You have to be able to do this in times when you're tired and don't feel like it, especially when it doesn't matter. You have to be able to edit a video at 1 in the morning, and that's not romantic. You got to be able to refilm a video 3 times, and it's not fun, of course, because you're literally sitting at the camera when you could be outside with your friends or doing something, whatever. And the same thing with your relationship, bro. Same thing with your relationship. The results don't come easy. They don't come immediately, I'll tell you that much. It requires a lot of work. And you have to be able to do what you're supposed to be doing, especially if you care about the person, when times are tough. You just have to really love the game. You really have to love the game, especially when making long-form content, especially when it comes to introducing a person into your life, you know? And I think about this stuff all the time, and I don't think people talk about it enough. I'm not trying to be like a relationship therapist or anything like that in this video, but I think the parallels are too similar to not take into consideration, especially if you're stuck at a 9-to-5, you want to be making more money, you want to be financially free, and these questions are going to come up to you with a relationship just as it does with long-form content. So that's why I make these videos. But anyway, eventually, everybody will make their choices, and how you show up for yourself and how you show up for the things that matter to you, whether it be long-form content or your committed relationship, will determine how your life turns out. And it's a little frightening, I'm not gonna lie, but it's also really exciting, because if you do what you're supposed to be doing and taking care of the things that you love, being either long-form content or your long-term partner, then it'll be a beautiful life. And I think that's awesome. But anyway, if you liked the video, make sure to like and subscribe, and to this channel overall, because I put videos like this every single day and you don't want to miss them, especially with kooky topics like this. And otherwise, if you want more personal help in order to develop your personal brand, you can literally just click the first link in the description, because I put a link there so that you can set up a call with me, so that we can see how we can help you overall, and would love to talk to you. Otherwise, I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.